Happy New Year! Is it? Is it another year already?
Oh yeah, it's so short, so sweet. It's been a great year. Are we sure we want to leave it? Can we
Ah,
stay?
yeah, I kind of want to. There's been a lot of years that have not been that fun. Maybe it's because, coming out of after COVID, like 2023 has felt like a very
Yeah,
positive year. I don't
yeah.
know for you, but it
You,
definitely has
you're
for
absolutely
me.
right. Yeah. But Microsoft has delivered amazingly on a lot of new functionality, new extensions. It's just been amazing. Do you think it could get any better?
I don't know, but I have a feeling that it will. I have a good feeling about 2024. And just looking at what they have in plan, I think it's going to be an exciting year.
I'm definitely looking forward to it. That's for sure. And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone. So, well,
Yeah.
but Kim, we said Happy New Year, but how do you say Happy New Year in Danish? Because Business Central is actually Danish, right? Like he was
Yeah.
born in Denmark
Yeah. Yeah.
originally, right?
The product and all development, most of the development for Business Central actually happens in Denmark. So all our friends in Denmark at Microsoft Business Central headquarters, Happy New Year and cheers. Godt nytår.
Godt nytår. Skål!
Skål.
Skål med det.
We might need the Italian as well.
Oh yeah, that's right. Buon anno. Buon anno.
Just as a disclaimer, this is not how we work.
No, not at all.
Only today we're having a lot of fun. We do have fun every day, working with clients, working on development, doing consulting. We have fun every day. This is a kind of a different fun, but it's only today.
It's a
New Year's.
celebration. It's a celebration. So you gotta have some fun with it, of course. I'm, thinking about recently, just maybe this could, beginning of New Year is always a good time for, looking back and seeing, what has gone good, what has gone not so good, and what can be done for next year. What are the resolutions for the next year?
Yeah.
So for me, when I think about 2023, I think there's been a lot of learning for me, a lot of new areas that I was not familiar with, a lot of new things that I've learned in Business Central, and that just goes to show that even no matter how much you work in the environment, there's always something new to learn.
Oh yeah.
But one thing that I think I'm excited for in 2024 is that there seem to be a lot of opportunities for integrations and interoperability between systems within the Microsoft family, but not only. And I'm very excited about that. So I'm really looking forward to developing that. And we do also have some in the works, right, Kim? Like we have some that we've already
Oh
talked
yeah,
about.
we do. It just happened actually a few months back, talking to a client and talking about the process, talking about the requirements and so on. Kind of just happened to talk about the integrations to a product called DocuSign. And the client was kind of desperate. They had a product, but it didn't really work the way they wanted it to work. And we got triggered by that, saying, okay, there's something out there that maybe we could do something about that and supply and give a good extension, give a good app. So yeah, we have actually made an extension that integrates into DocuSign. And maybe you can just explain what is DocuSign.
Thank you for the introduction. That's a great one. Great thing that we've done in 2023 that we look forward to expand in 2024. But DocuSign is at the very core a service that allows you to digitally sign a document. It does more than that, but just to try to give it a short explanation, it manages your workflow of a document of data and a document, and allows you to digitally sign safely that document with legal binding signatures online. And it's extremely easy to use. If anybody, a lot of viewers might be familiar with the name, but it's extremely easy to use to begin with. What was missing was, or to say, like there's not many options when it comes to Business Central and integration with that. So we saw this as an opportunity, and we work with their team. And I have to say that like their documentation, the people that work in the company are absolutely amazing. We had amazing interactions with all of them. And it's really been a pleasure developing that integration. We've just started. We're going to be releasing it soon on the Microsoft Store. So it's going to be available there for everybody to purchase. and we are looking forward to expand the functionalities in the future. For the time being, we're covering the sales documents, but it is our intention to expand it to everything else within Business Central. And obviously customizations are always possible if there's anything that you specifically would like to include it for.
Yeah, I was actually thrilled as well, really excited to work together with DocuSign, because it's just amazing how they kind of committed to helping us, helping them, you could kind of say. But and one of the questions that came up was, okay, so now you're going to make this integration, but is that going to be hard for the customers to install that in the existing Business Central? Or it's going to take a lot of hours, cost, and so how does that work?
That's a very good question. Actually, it's extremely simple. Once we're going to release the app on the Microsoft Store, it's as easy as installing an app on your phone. All you have to do is just go there, select the app, install it, and then obviously have your DocuSign account. And if you don't have your DocuSign account yet, make sure to contact us. We can help you set that up. If not, you can just go on their website. They have a very easy, accessible website where you can set up your DocuSign account. Once you've done that, all you have to do is just type in a few information on your account inside of Business Central, the app that you've downloaded, and you're done. All the app is completely integrated within Business Central, so there's no need for additional training or anything. Is intuitive. So when you are on any sales document, you will just see your DocuSign button that you can just click, and instead of just having to download a PDF, attach it to an email, send it, and not know what PDF version you've done, like you've submitted. We all are there, like we download it in the download folder, and then you have a million documents, which one is which. Simple and easy, just one button. That document is sent to the customer receives it, and once they have it, all they have to do is just sign it. And once they sign it, you automatically get within Business Central a notification that tells you the customer has signed it. And boom, there you have it, like a legal binding document connected to your sales order, quote, or whatever other sales document you have chose. That's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, a question actually came to mind. I'm a little bit afraid to ask that question because you're so... But I will.
Yeah, it's okay. Let's see. I'm ready.
Because, it's a process, so the first version that comes out will have some functionality. The next one will have more and more and more and so on. So what about the customers that's going to buy and subscribe to that version that's out there now? What's going to happen next time there's a new version? Some new cool stuff. What do they have to do?
That's very, very good question. I don't think we can do anything about that. I'm sorry, those customers, we're not going to have to, we can't take care of them. No, I'm joking.
This is sarcasm.
I'm joking, of course. That's the beauty of the Microsoft ecosystem again. Like once you download the app, from the Microsoft App Store and you've installed it in your Business Central, it's very straightforward. You're going to just get like a notification that a new app has been released. In this case, like we have released a new app that has new extended functionalities. And all you have to do is just update the app. And then all of a sudden you will have all the new functionalities listed and available. And we're always going to make sure to have like a roadmap on our website that you can follow so that you know what new features are coming. And obviously, we plan on expanding that beyond, but the app itself, we're going to maintain. We're going to always have like a roadmap with the functionalities that are available. And, it's pretty straightforward. Once you've installed it and acquired your license, it's going to just update and be seamless for you.
Yeah. Once I've installed that extension in your Business Central, what about support? What if I need some cool... how do I use it the best way? Or do we have any videos or do we have any stuff?
We have a lot of pre-made videos that are helping you, guide you through all the steps of the installation process, the usage process that you can share obviously with your user if you're in a larger organization, which will make it seamless for all of them to utilize. And if at a certain point they have a doubt, they can go back and rewatch the video, and there's steps that show you exactly what to do within the application. So both during the setup process and throughout the usage process, there's videos supporting that here on YouTube. We have a page on our website that you can reference that we'll obviously put here in the links down below that you can go and reference at any point in time. And then obviously if you need more customized support, if you have specific questions that are not covered within the videos, you can always contact us on our homepage. You can book an appointment with us, talk with us directly, or simply like send us a message and we can reply to that, giving you answers to what your questions are, or giving you feedback on that. So see, it's again like pretty simple. Couple of links that you just have to keep in your favorites up there, and then one like talk to NAV SEAL, talk to Kim and Alessandro. Just click there and get to talk to us, or just watch one of their videos and you get to see us there on YouTube, just like you're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But so we talked about one of the integration that we have developed that will be released on the App Store, the DocuSign integration, which we're very excited about. But are there other integration that NAV SEAL has worked with?
Yeah, we do actually. It's not a secret, a little bit, but not really. No, there's a lot of companies out there that produces prints, labels for all kinds of purposes. Mostly in the warehouses, when you receive boxes, you scan a label, put it on, and so on. So it's easier for you to actually scan that in the warehouse later on when you're gonna pick it and ship it and so on. So there's a lot of companies that need support for that out there, and we picked that requirement up. So we looked into it, and there's a lot of good products out there that can print labels, but we found a good one, didn't we?
We did. We found this company you might have heard of if you work within label printing. It's called BarTender. BarTender is like a leading in their industry, specifically in label printing and everything that goes from barcode, as the name suggests. So they're really good at that. We've worked with them in many occasions. Really found out that they know what they're doing, and when it came to selecting a partner to work on, that's where our mind went. And can you tell us a little bit, Kim, what have we developed? What are we able to do with BarTender? Because that's sounds cool, but
yeah, you're absolutely right, because there's a lot of ways that you can use BarTender and print labels. It could be that you need the ability to print labels from the item. So that could be that you want the item number, a barcode on there, the serial number, the lot number. There's lots of different options. And the cool thing about this integration is that we kind of just provide, and I say just, it's not just, but we provide the basic information and pass it on to BarTender. BarTender does an amazing job actually creating the label with the correct barcodes. All of that cool stuff takes care of in BarTender application. So we don't really care about that. We do, but BarTender is doing an amazing job. So that's why we made the integration, so we can actually print labels from the item card, from a warehouse shipment, from a warehouse receipt, all areas where you kind of interface with just imagine you're receiving goods from your vendor, it comes into the receiving area in the warehouse, and now you really want to put labels onto the boxes so they're ready. It's easy to find them again, just scan them in the warehouse. So you print the label when you receive the goods into the warehouse. It prints all the labels, you just stick them onto the box, and it's ready to be put away and be used later on.
Wow, that sounds pretty awesome. So you're telling me that if I'm a Business Central user and I need to print a label, and I maybe want a barcode, maybe I want a QR code, maybe have some specific, very, very specific requirements because I work in an industry that deals with food or something like that, that has specific requirements of how the label needs to be. I can just download, install this integration, and then from there I can just send the data over to BarTender, and then BarTender does the rest of the job for me. Is that what you're telling me? Is that simple?
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's the beauty of this integration, that Business Central is great at doing what it's doing, but having a million different types of barcodes and label printing and so on, that's not the core functionality of Business Central. And we have to admit, all things in the world, you have to focus on what you're good at. And Business Central is good at a lot of stuff. But when it comes to printing labels, BarTender will beat them. So that is why you integrate into BarTender.
And that sounds pretty cool. So if I am in Business Central, I've installed this integration, and like you mentioned, I'm on the item card. You're telling me that from there I can just use this integration to send the information down to BarTender, and then BarTender will take care and print labels for me for the items with the format and everything, QR code, whatever I need for my scanners to work. Is it really that simple?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say, but it really is.
You're shocking me here.
I know, but yeah, the truth hurts sometimes. This time, not so much. But
not so much. No, I would say that's pretty awesome. And wow, that's a good thing. That's a good thing to know. And I'm pretty sure. I don't know what kind of business you're running as you're watching this video, but I am almost positive you have the need to print at least one type of label of some sort. I'm just guessing here, but like you probably need to ship something out. You might not have a giant warehouse, but if you do, you might want to label things, or if you need to print a label at a certain point, right?
Yeah.
So having this integration will allow you to seamlessly move the data from Business Central over to a software that is designed to print the label the way you want. And the other cool thing that we haven't mentioned is that the design of the label is completely kept within BarTender. So having that data flow means that you have the data in Business Central, like Kim said, Business Central is good at doing that, keeping the data organized and everything. But when it comes to the label design, you can do everything in BarTender. So if down the line you decide, you know what, I want to change and move the QR code from this side over to this side because it makes most sense, like it's easier to scan and so on, you don't need to change anything. The data flow is still the same. You just change where the label is in BarTender using their label designer, which is extremely easy to use. And boom, all of a sudden you have your new labels designed without having to change integration, call developers, redesign your application. It's as easy as that. Like, so I think it's
and I think that is a great point because it makes it a lot more flexible than other solutions.
Yep.
Because it just means that whenever you want to create a new label, a new format, or just another version of it, it's so easy. You can do it yourself.
Exactly.
And boom, you're there. I love the boom.
Boom! Makes it easy, and it goes well with New Year. There's a lot of booms.
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that. There's a lot of booms, yeah.
Good kind.
Boom,
Good kind. Exactly. But so awesome. So we have a DocuSign integration. We have a BarTender integration. Are there any other collaboration that NAV SEAL has been working on this year that we would like to announce to our dear customer and potential future customers here?
You know, part of working together with all of you beautiful customers out there running your business is that part of the process and talking and working together, some new requirements pops up from time to time, a lot of the time actually. So some of the areas we have been working on, we haven't released any extension or app for it. Maybe it will happen one day. But you know, when you work in a warehouse, for example, you kind of need a dashboard. And when I say dashboard, it's an easy, simple approach to what you're going to ship this day, tomorrow, next week, and so on. And kind of make an easy way to approach that information, because it's that you might have a lot of orders going out from the warehouse, so it might be difficult to kind of track and say, okay, what is up, what is most importantly, and so on. So that's one of the areas we have worked a lot on, and we made specific modifications, dashboards as we call them, for some clients. And you know, one day we might actually make that as an extension as well, so you can just download it. But the message here is that is how we work together with you out there. We kind of share information. We kind of pick up on what it is you want to do and what is the core requirement for you. And we try to come up with some ideas and suggestions of how can you do that in a better way. And creating a dashboard doesn't really require a lot of changes, but it's more the approach to it.
Because sometimes I think Business Central has so much data, and it's so good at what it's doing. It's keeping it organized for us. But sometimes there's so much data. The question is not so much if the data is there, but it's how to view it in the best way, right? In a way that is significant to you as a user, right? So a dashboard, just like Kim explained, allows you to view that data in the angle that you need. Because while the data is there and it's there for everybody, it doesn't mean that it's easy to access in the way that works best for you. Maybe your warehouse process is slightly different, or you have a specific need. That's where we can come in and really help you address those specific needs and design simply presenting the data in a better way, in a way that like works for your business.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, ask me if we've done anything else.
What else have we done? What else have we done? We've worked a lot. I think we've really like deserved like this nice celebration. We've worked a lot this year.
Another part is that when you run any type of company, you want to automate as much as you can, humanly possible, of course, because certain things require the human hand. processing, some kind of guidelines on how to do that. But other processes can be automated. And that's one of the areas where we work a lot with you customers out there. Because just imagine that you have people doing a process that might be heavily human interactively, meaning that you need a person to push the button or evaluate information and kind of follow that down the track and making sure things are happening in the right order and to support the process. You know, sometimes when you actually discover that and talk about it, there might be areas where you can automate that. And maybe it doesn't require any changes, any modifications. Sometimes it requires a little bit of modification, development. But doing that the benefit of that, the outcome of that might be huge, because it might mean that you can save some resources, some time, and use those resources in another place in your company. It doesn't mean you have to get rid of people. It just means that you can put more quality time into other areas, other processes in your company. And in that way, you can deliver a better product, a better service to your clients.
So I have a question regarding this, because I think this is something that might be relevant for some of our customers. I've certainly heard this question before, let's say. It's like, okay, we have our process, our warehouse process, for example, our receiving process, right? Like, so we have it, it's working smoothly. Why would it be worth like trying to improve, look, or optimize that? Like, and I have a personal opinion on that, as far as like why it's interesting sometimes to work with the client and have that conversation coming as a consultant, because I often see that, you know, in the process, yeah, it's working smoothly, but you realize that you are doing a lot of clicks and a lot of operations that can really be summarized. Can you help us explain, or can you help us understand, like, where do we come in handy in a situation like that? Like, say with this scenario here where you have your receiving processes all narrowed down, like how can we help like make that like even better?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think one of the real, you know, our job as a consultant is really to challenge you customers out there, saying, okay, why do we do it like that? It's not because we want to be annoying. Maybe you kind of see it like that.
It could be.
And it's not because we want to suggest a lot of development and costly implementation, anything like that. But it's just kind of brainstorming, making sure that we get the best result out of there. And maybe that challenge will just end out saying, okay, you're actually doing the best way that is possible right now. That's fine. Let's leave it like that. But sometimes that challenge might actually come up with some new ideas. And one idea could be that, okay, when you get into the warehouse handling, you have the shipments, you have the receiving part, you could maybe automate parts of that. So at the same time, when you, and now I get a little bit technical, when you release an order that might be a PO or SO, it actually at the same time creates a warehouse document for you. You see, that's one step saved in there. And if that is the process, why not do that? If there's a different process in place that needs a human hand to actually push the button because of something else, that's fine, we can do that. But you know, just making a small modification like that, it's pretty simple, pretty cheap to do it, and you might save a lot of time doing that.
And think about also the human error, because you know, it happens. I mean, we all now know that, like when we are doing the same thing over and over, even if it's a simple action, it can happen to make like a mistake and so on. But if the action is straightforward, just like we're discussing right now, that's something that needs to happen every time this document is released, or every time this happens, this other thing needs to happen. If you have narrowed down your process, like it might be for us just easy to look at it and say, oh yeah, we can optimize that and just do it like this, so that for the warehouse person, instead of having to go and click in 3 different places to obtain that result, they only have to click one button, and all of a sudden you have the same end result. And I think that those small changes in everyday process make people happier. I mean, they do for me, for certain.
Yeah,
like whenever you know a new functionality is introduced that allows me to, oh no, I just have one button that does all of that. Like I don't have to worry about it.
Ain't that the dream scenario?
Right.
I just need one button and then we're done. I'll go home afterwards. I don't think that's going to happen, but maybe we can get a little bit closer to it.
We can get you closer. We can get you closer. So we don't have like unrealistic expectation, but what we have noticed, I would say, is that often having just that conversation and being open about and having established that like relationship that allows to look at the process with a more open mind, I think a lot of times lead into great improvements into the use of Business Central.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I will say, once you start going down that path, and we all do that, we want to optimize the way we work, optimize the process and so on. When you optimize or automate a lot of processes and kind of put them all together into one, maybe sometimes you need a little bit of still controlling in a way. And what I mean by that is that sometimes when things doesn't really happen the way they're supposed to happen, how do you actually catch up on that? What happened? What went wrong? So can you kind of talk to that? How could we do that?
That's a great point, because that's often happens when you are managing a large system like Business Central is. There's a lot of moving parts, right? And it's difficult to keep track of what's happening or always have an eye on. And you obviously have people that are overseeing certain areas, but then again, like you never have like necessarily the full picture. And one thing happening in one place might affect something happening at another place. So one of the great things that tools that we have that has been around for a while, but I think like this year has really seen like a big increase in use is Telemetry. Telemetry is a tool that Microsoft gives the opportunity to anybody to use. Obviously, there's a limit to the free version. Obviously, once you get the more, depending on how much data you want to keep, like they start charging a certain amount, but it's still like very affordable. But the nice thing, even just with the free version, you're basically getting an overview of what your system is doing, how it's being used, what errors are being risen at any given time. The great thing about this and enabling telemetry is that it gives you the opportunity to understand how your system works currently, what is happening, and at the very least, identifying some odd scenarios that shouldn't be happening. And when they happen, it's good to have the history to reference back to, because otherwise it's very difficult to just like look at a system and say, oh yeah, it doesn't normally do this. Yes, but what's the normal? So having that like allows you to go back and see and analyze, and a lot of times like just by looking at the data there, it's possible to find root causes. But even more surprisingly, like recently we've had an experience with a client where we identified like an issue that they didn't even know exactly they had. We identified the issue, we helped them find a solution for it, and ultimately that has improved their overall process. And just looking at data, enabling it, and the process is extremely simple, isn't it, Kim? Like, I mean, how long does it take to set up telemetry? It's just a free version.
We're really talking about not days, hours, maybe not even.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say a couple of clicks, but we're close. It's really, really, really that simple. And then I personally think it's addictive. Like once you have it enabled, and I'm serious, because you start really questioning a lot of the things that you do, how you do them, and you really are curious. You get curious about how your system is being used, and telemetry allows you to see and have those insights. So I personally, it's something that I think we both always recommend to clients to enable, because again, there's a free version that is free, so why not like take advantage of that? And second, like once you enable it, you really are just opening a new view on what you see. And
yeah, you're right. It's a different world.
It is. It's a one that you had there, but you couldn't really see. Now you all of a sudden can see it, so you start questioning and making assumptions, and it changes your way of thinking about Business Central.
It certainly does. Yeah. One thing to keep in mind when we talk about telemetry is it's mostly being used by administrators and super users in Business Central. Yes. It's not the daily user that's kind of logged into Business Central. They usually don't have access to that, and they don't really need it. So it's more kind of telemetry is a tool where you can kind of catch up, and it's not necessarily online. So it means it captures information typically once a day, and then so the following day you can kind of catch up on it. Exactly. So that kind of brings me to the next topic related to automating and integrations in general, that a lot of things happens behind the scenes, and telemetry is good catching up on certain stuff, and you can kind of deal with that. but also maybe the users that's kind of using Business Central on a daily basis, they need to know a little bit more if things does not happen the way it's supposed to do. Just take an integration that's fully automated. A lot of things happen behind the scenes, but if for whatever reason something goes wrong, it would be nice for that user to actually see what went wrong, because again, that user will contact support internally, externally, maybe us. And our first question would always be, okay, can you kind of give us some more details about that? And I think that is, so in general, I think we're trying to develop,
Yes.
whenever we make modification, we have a certain approach to that.
Yes, and that's very important, a good thing to mention. So whenever any automation is happening, taking place behind the scenes, like it can be tricky because while on one side you have the ease of you click one button and if everything works, it works. The problem is when there are issues. If you have not built in your application, your extension, a proper way of logging, a proper way of viewing what's happening behind the scene, it's difficult to track down the problem, especially if they're sporadic. So telemetry might help, like in some general cases, some more general view of things. But when it comes down to specifics, it's important to have in place a logging system that allows you to see who did what, where, and when. And that's something that we always put as a priority whenever we develop any kind of customization, obviously depending on what the customization is. But when it comes to specifically integrating with some external services, it's very important to see at what stage the communication was interrupted, what kind of problem was, be able to go there, narrow down, find the root cause, and then correct that if there is a problem, obviously. And even if not, like it's nice also for the users to just see, okay, what is happening, right? Even let's say everything is going smoothly, it's nice to see, oh, okay, have I sent this before? Have I done this before? It's nice to have a place where you can just like open that page, go look. And now we even have search and company data, so you can include those in the, you know, those tables like within that. So that's a different topic. So, but just keep that in mind also. So I think that's something that at least we both feel very strongly about. Like give control to the users so that they can self-serve, right? Like, so we obviously want to be there if you have questions, but our goal is to be there at first and give you control over the system, so that once we're done, you have full control over it. You don't necessarily need to come to us. Like, we're always there if you need us, but our goal is to give you control over your system and a better control over your system.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. So the purpose for us is to make it simple for you, but still make it possible to keep track of what is happening behind the scenes, because what might be happening behind the scenes might be complex.
Exactly.
It's a difficult world sometimes.
Okay. But we make it simple here for you.
Yeah.
SEAL.
Thank you.
Let's talk about one thing. Like, let's say that somebody has a question, or they have a problem, and maybe they're customers, maybe they're not. What's our approach when it comes to how do we like to interact with customers?
I would say in general, we don't mind people emailing us or phoning us, but once we kind of have a connection, we have a support system, the NAV SEAL support system, where we can create, we call them tickets.
Yeah.
And a ticket is kind of typically you create the ticket, say, okay, I have a question, I have a problem, I have a big issue, so you can even give it a priority. So when you create the ticket in our system, it's automatically given to us as an issue, and we can see from the priority, we can see who's the customer and so on. So we can see, okay, is this an emergency? Do we need to actually do something about that immediately? And then we'll look into that ticket and kind of deal with it from that. And maybe, hopefully, I think we will contact you maybe for more details and kind of maybe even have a call or a meeting and so on. But what is important for us is that we have one place where all the information resides. So we have a full audit trail if that is needed, so we can see how did it start and what happened. So all communication is dealt with within that ticket. And
that's very straightforward, because in this way, if in the future there is also a need internally to go back and look at things that we've done before, we've interacted before, it's easier to identify trends or issues, root causes, and so on, or also just access information that has been shared before. Another great thing that is possible that we really try always to suggest is whenever the request or the question becomes like a little bit more broad, or there's need for clarification, we're always huge fans of like jumping on a call. Like schedule a meeting. We talk about that often. Like whenever we have like some doubts, like we don't like to assume. We prefer to, get on a quick call. It doesn't have to be long. If it needs to be long, it can. But and we have a pretty cool system, I think, in place right now for managing that, don't we?
We do, because we have a place where you can actually go to our homepage and click on the booking option in there, and you can book a meeting with me or Alessandro or both of us. Just have a meeting. Again, it's easy, and sometimes, often actually, it's easier just to talk instead of emailing some information, because you can read it in 1,000 different ways and maybe not get into the details as you want. So don't be afraid, contact us, we'll talk about it.
See, we're pretty friendly, we promise, we won't bite.
Not hard.
And the other good thing about interacting in that way is that first of all you establish some sort of relationships. It gets easier the more we interact. But the other great thing about having meetings in that way versus a phone call or a ticket message is that you can also record those meetings. So often for us, when it comes to designing, especially when it comes to designing or talking about a modification that the system need, it's very good and helpful to have that information recorded, because we can go back and reference it, so that if we don't need to go back and have a meeting later on or have another same question, because we can always go back and reference what you have asked us to do, what you would like to do, what you like to achieve. So and often when it comes to development, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kim, like it happens in stages. So you develop it at first, and you go back, you review and say, did I understand that correctly? And then maybe you catch something the second time and say, oh, wait a moment, like they mentioned this. So let me make sure this is actually what's happening in the system once I've finished the development. So it's almost like a double check that you have, like having that recording. And I find that very helpful.
Yeah, it's basically working together instead of just a one-way communication, you delivering some information, us just doing it the best way we think we can do it. No, we talk about it, we work on the issue, and that is, in our experience, that's the best way to do it.
It really is.
Yeah.
I think that this past year has been quite an exciting year. There's been quite a lot of things happening. We have a few videos in which we talk about it, so if you're curious, make sure you check some of those out. But more importantly, we just wanted to take a moment to really thank you for being here. We look forward to meeting you, if we haven't met you yet, in this 2024 that is coming up. And we're very excited about what will be next.
So I would like to take the opportunity to celebrate.
Look at that.
Provide a toast. And here we go. A little bit of the good drops.
Wonderful.
So all of you out there, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching this video from NAV SEAL. Check out more right here. NAV SEAL offer assistance and counsel on any existing solution. So if you're in need of assistance, don't hesitate to contact us on navseal.com or LinkedIn. Consider leaving a like and subscribe for more tips, news, and guides to anything Microsoft Dynamics 365 Business Central.